Today on the Sales Life Sales Edition, confidence in sales is not believing that everything will go right. Confidence in sales is believing that when it goes wrong, you have the ability to recover. Today on the Sales Life Sales Edition, have you put in the reps necessary, the practice needed? Not that everything's going to go right today, but believing that when it goes wrong, you can still find a way. Stay tuned. All right, TSL, let's get it. Welcome to another edition of the Sales Life Sales Edition. The Sales Life Sales Edition is one of two podcasts. The first one is the Sales Life. That is the mothership. That's the red box that for those of you who are watching on the video, it's the red box. You'll see a red label and you'll see the orange label. And the orange label which is this one today. This is for those in the sales profession looking to plus size their game. But we got the mothership, man. 632 episodes of the Sales Life. And the Sales Life is just not for those in the sales profession. It's for those who are looking to develop the life skills of selling, because sales is a profession, but selling's a life skill. So if this is your first time here, welcome. Even if you're not in sales, man, stick around, because we're going to talk about confidence. And I think it's something that you're going to definitely get some value from. But if you're in sales, man, you totally get the fact that confidence is everything in sales, isn't it? And so it stems from this, I don't know, man. I kind of like to connect the dots, and I'm intrigued with sales. I'm intrigued with life. And it's really just kind of a mystery to it all. And so in the previous edition of the Sales Life Sales Edition, I talked about the lessons that I learned by finishing dead last. It wasn't just a fluke. It was back-to-back months of being dead last. And dude, I lost my momentum. I did everything I knew to do. And I still finished dead last. And so I talked about the lessons that I learned by finishing dead last. And these were self-inflicted things that I'd caused and brought upon myself. And so a lot of the learning that I get is from those of you who have rocked with me for a long time. I get them all over. I get them through experiences. I get them through books. But most of the content, man, that really sticks to me is through podcasts. And recently I was working out, man, coming off of back-to-back poor months. And so I was still thinking about that, because I don't want it to happen again, right? And Suneel Gupta, who is a Harvard faculty member and the author of Backable, The Surprising Truth of Why People Take a Chance on You. Dude, the title alone makes you want to read the book. Backable, The Surprising Truth of Why People Take a Chance on You. So he's on Ryan Hawk's podcast. And he tells Hawk, he said, I had a jazz musician tell me one time. He said, Suneel, every time I go on stage, I go up with confidence. And I go home with confidence. Not believing that everything's going to go right, but believing that when it goes wrong, that I've practiced enough that I have the ability to recover. And he went on to say, he said, Ryan, the reps that you and I take, the reps that anyone takes, those of you in sales, those of you in marketing, those of you who do videos and podcasts, see, the reps that you take are developing a recovery muscle. And when you develop that recovery muscle, what you're developing is the ability to bounce in and out of situations and find a way. And this brought a powerful thought to me. I realized I had lost my confidence. I'd lost my belief in my ability to recover. And confidence, man, it's an elusive thing, isn't it? And that's why I named this episode Confidence is Muscle, Not Magic. And many times, dude, I think that we want it, or we treat it as if it's magic, as if it's some sort of dust that gets sprinkled across our lives. And somehow, man, we magically get these amazing results. But what happens when that fairy dust of confidence gets snuffed out and it's gone? What do you do then? You got to be reminded that confidence is a muscle. And it's got to be taken to the gym every single day. It means that if it's a muscle, it's got to be worked out. And after I listened to the podcast of why I finished dead last, and then I heard this episode, it's like I don't know, like someone just tied me to a chair and I was helpless in every single situation. I was acting like a victim. A victim in sales, man, is not going to get you anywhere. You're going to continue to get hopeless results. And what I realized is that I was walking into every situation and I did everything I knew to do, right? I kept my mouth shut. I wasn't selective in deals. I tried to listen to nothing but positive things. But what I did not take stock in is the thousands of situations I've been in my 23 years of selling. You know how many thousands of experiences I've been in? And so I was walking into these situations hoping for a perfect outcome, hoping for a perfect solution, hoping that the customer would say yes, hoping that the customer would not reject me. See, I was walking into these situations like that jazz musician. I was getting on stage with confidence. But where we veer off, the jazz musician went on with confidence, not believing that it was going to go right, but believing that he had enough in the tank, that he had put in enough reps, that he had developed a recovery muscle so that when it goes wrong, when he hits an off key, he simply has the ability to recover. And see, when I was walking into these situations, I lost my belief in the ability to recover. I didn't even remind myself. I didn't even think about that. But then when I listened to this, man, I thought about it. Sales is a live game, man. It's live. And so I've been showing vehicles before and the handles come off of my hand. I've turned on vehicles before and the check engine light comes on or the motor starts knocking. I've walked in on the wrong customer and started talking to them as if they were the right customer. I've worked deals on the wrong vehicle. I've quoted down payment when there was supposed to be no down payment. I've worked best case scenarios with worst case credit and vice versa. I've been in situations where everything hinged the last day, last customer of the month, and everything hinged the store's month, the performance, everything hinged on me making this deal. And I made them. And I missed some too. But the difference is when I didn't make it because I put in so much practice. I had the ability to recover. Do you think for 1 second that you can just lose your confidence as if it just goes down the drain when you take a shower? As if it just, like you're supposed to find it at the lost and found? No, you don't lose your confidence. You lose your belief in your ability to recover. And sometimes, man, you got to be reminded of that. Because think about it like this. Think about it on a musician who's touring. Do you think they go up on stage and they go to venue after venue, show after show after show? And do you think they hit perfection at all times? No, they don't. And there are times where they have an off night. The musician hits the wrong key. The singer forgets the lyrics to the song. Suneel Gupta even talked about that. He said Ella Fitzgerald at one time, I don't even know what song it was, but she forgot the lyrics to the song in the middle of a performance. Do you think she had the ability to say, hey, let's start from the top? No, it's live. People are paying you to be there. And so what she did is she made up lyrics as she went along. And probably most people didn't even know that she had the wrong lyrics. Because, see, she had developed enough confidence that she could fill in the spots and improvise and bounce in and out of the situations and find a way. Now, swap Ella Fitzgerald's name for yours. Have you put in enough reps necessary that you have the ability to bounce in and out of situations and recover and find a way? And that's the difference between seasoned salespeople and rookie salespeople. The novice salesperson is prepared, yet he hasn't practiced. And preparation's not enough. I've worked with a lot of salespeople who were fully prepared, yet when it came to live fire, they weren't ready. They didn't know what to do. They were prepared, but they weren't practiced. And so because they weren't practiced and they weren't prepared for having to put it into practice and work the process, that when they got out there in live fire and they got rejected and the customers burned off on them and the customers went off on them and the rejection mounted up, they freaked out and ended up out of the business. But the new salespeople who are prepared and have a process and they put it in practice, and you understand that the only way I'm going to get better, the only way I'm going to succeed is to suck. That means that I have to go through it. That means that I have to sit in the tension. I often talk about that. You got to sit in the tension, because what you're doing is you've got to be able to develop the experiences. You've got to go on stage, rep after rep after rep. And sometimes, man, you don't know. It's unfamiliar. But when that fight or flight kicks in and you want to jump out of there, that you hang in there. And you'll have people along the way that will actually help spot you. It's as if when we go to the gym and I put extra weight on and I get stuck. If you're spotting me, you can hit that little bump and I get right past that little sticking point, and then you move and you say, Marsh, you got it from there. But see, it's the reps where it gets hard, where I can barely hold it. I get to a sticking point. And when I can hit those little pops, I'm developing that muscle. And see, a muscle has to be broken down to build back up stronger. And if confidence is a muscle that has to be broken down in order to develop the recovery muscle. Athletes know this. Athletes develop the refractory period. And the refractory period is how short can you shorten the situations where when something doesn't go according to plan, you got 45 seconds and you got another play. You don't have time to sit there and reminisce. That's when you go to the sidelines and then you figure it out in between the plays. But when you're playing, you've got to be able to recover and maximize the opportunity. So this episode serves twofold. Number one, if you're new, you've got to develop that recovery muscle. And the only way that you're going to do that, man, is through the reps. Reps, reps, reps. See, confidence is an investment. It's not an inheritance. It's not. I can't will confidence to you. Your grandma can't give it to you. And I can't even sew it on you. You know those little bodysuits where those bodysuits where they sew they sew the muscles, or it's a little bodysuit that it looks like that you have muscles. Yet when you take that little suit off, the real thing's underneath. That's what confidence is. And so I can't want confidence. You can't, as a matter of fact, dude, you can't even watch this episode and get confidence. You can walk away motivated. You can walk away inspired, but it will not give you confidence. The only way to gain confidence is through. And it's through the reps. And you're developing that recovery muscle. So if you're new in sales, if you're new to anything, you've got to develop that confidence muscle. But also, for those of you who are veterans in this business, Marsh, dead last, you've also got to remember, number one, I still got to take the reps. But I've got to remember also to be reminded that I have the belief that I've put in the practice for decades, and I have the ability to recover. So when you're on a slick spot and things aren't going according to plan, understand, man, you got enough in the tank. But don't be focused just on the sole outcome, believing that I hope this is a perfect deal. It's not going to be. Sales and life are not perfect. It's not what it's meant to be, because the only way that you would learn is the imperfections, is the times when you fail. So it's walking into these sales situations. It's making these phone calls. It's working in these situations. Dude, when you're 0 and 11, you walk into these situations believing that you have confidence. I got confidence. I go on stage with confidence. Not that everything's going to go right, but believing that when it goes wrong, that I have the ability to recover. Confidence is a muscle. It ain't magic. All right, let's get on with today's day. This episode, it's a little bit different, man. I recorded this podcast, or the podcast version. I recorded it separately. So check it out, man. It's a little bit different. Also, who you think needs to hear this message? Confidence is a big thing. Even if they're not in sales, man, share this episode. Tag someone in this episode that needs to hear this. Because sometimes, man, they got to be reminded. And if they're new, don't check out. Don't go find another job. It's scary. Sales is scary because you don't know what you're getting into and you're getting rejected. I'm telling you, if you hang in there, if you hang in the tension, you're going to come out the other side. Remember, the greatest sale that you will ever make is to sell you on you, because you're more than enough. Stay amazing. Stay in the sales life. Let me come back around and say hello. Marvelous Monday to you. Also, Nat, hope you have a wonderful day. Catherine, thank you so much for coming on. Yes, it's all about shortening the recovery aspect of it. And so the only way that you learn to shorten it is sometimes, man, you have to lengthen the tension. And so you have to learn how to sit in the tension. If you bail out the minute things feel unfamiliar, foreign to you, and you bail out at those times, when do you expect to ever get better? You won't. You'll never get better because you're getting right up to the doorstep of what's familiar. And then right at the threshold, the ledge, when things or unfamiliar. I wasn't taught this. I've never been in this situation before. If you turn and run and you check out of those situations, you're never going to get any better. That's why I say you got to suck in order to succeed. And so I'll make my salespeople, I tell them, have a one more mentality. And that one more mentality will teach you to sit in the tension. And instead of just telling yourself to sit in the tension, what I instead tell them is have that one more mentality. And the one more mentality means that when a customer hits you with something, or it seems like it's coming to, where the fight or flight kicks in and you want to jump up, where instead what you do is you say, what's one more question I could ask? And what you'll develop is you'll strengthen that muscle. And because you ask one more question, oftentimes you'll get a new revelation. And the revelation is what develops even more confidence, because you sat in there, you recovered, and you found a way. I don't know if I said it ending, but remember, the greatest sale that you will ever make is to sell you on you. Stay amazing. Stay in the sales life.